The last great Coliseum hosts Gen 4 stock cars for the first time in Season 16, and the Highline Racing League pays their first visit to Bristol Motor Speedway in the Gen 4 era. Throwback stock cars are one of NASCAR's most iconic circuits bring together for one exciting night. This is the Classic Colosseum 200, and the Bristol Motor Speedway has qualifying underway, with now drivers taking to the track for their first hot laps of the event. Great to have you all watching live again at FTN. It's been an all Bristol night here on the channel, and we keep things moving at the half-mile circuit that is about as fast as anywhere else on the world. Of course, high banking, high speeds, and that keeps these guys rolling at speeds of over 110 no matter where they go. It's a very short circuit, but a lot of laps combined to make races of attrition and aggression all at once. I'm David Kreutz, hosting all the night's action here at FTN. It's a Thursday doubleheader as always, and tonight, not only does the Iora Cup Series pay their visit to Bristol, it's the Highline Racing League also taking it down to Tennessee for an exciting night of action all throughout. 200 laps on the table for tonight. Adam Bozzi finds himself as our pole sitter provisionally, with Kendall Kerr second, Chad Winstead in third, and for the first time this season, Casey Heschel returns in the number 49. Casey going to be back on his way for the first time this season as Ty Smith goes up into 11th. Going to be Ryan Potter right now on the track as well, with Dylan Petit and Roberto Ramirez yet to take a time. 3 minutes remaining qualifying, so very little time to get back on the track if you went for your first lap and didn't for your second, or if you want to go at all. Right now, for the drivers, you got to get on track and get things going from there on out. Got a lot of news for some drivers. Michael Deitch in particular making some waves. He's going full-time next season, and racing tonight in the Highline Racing League exclusively was not able to make our Iora event. Dylan Petit's going to jump up to 5th on the board and drop it down low. As we mentioned, Heschel making his first start this season as Roberto Ramirez takes to the track in the number 42. Ryan Potter also on the way as it stands. James McKee, the only driver not to go on the track at least once. Potter's on pit road, McKee is not on the track at all, and Roberto Ramirez takes it through. He's gone 4 laps of qualifying time so far. And with 2 minutes and 21 seconds remaining, for most tracks, if you don't get on by this point, there's no chance to take qualifying time. However, here at Bristol, with how short the circuit is, you've got a lot of opportunity to get on that circuit and get going. Now, Ryan Potter is still on pit road, but he's inside the cockpit and ready to go if necessary. Looks like right now he's going to opt to stay on pit road and not get on the racing surface. However, for James McKee, the number 29 gets going, and just like that, single car qualifying sees the number 29 body shop Monte Carlo take to the track. 5 minutes of qualifying, and James McKee gonna save it for the end. Roberto Ramirez not able to get an officially timed lap, despite the fact he was able to go around the track multiple times. Just did not work out for that number 42. He'll be starting at the rear of the field. McKee, hoping to avoid that fate, finds himself on the track going up high for his first lap. Now going to be getting on the way and taking it up top for the first, hoping to drop down low for the second. Build up that momentum, and across the line this time by James McKee puts a timed effort in, a 14.924. Now going to run it high yet again, and looks like the second groove coming into its own as McKee's going to keep it there. Has a little bit more room to work with that line, try to see if it's the best for him, and it looks like at the stripe, it's going to prove to gain 1/10 of a second as James McKee now is going to drop it down low and take it what looks to be to pit road. McKee's run is over. Ryan Potter is still on the track, but is yet to take a time, and with that being said, looks like no indication of this number 99 getting a chance to put one lap down. So without further ado, time to find out who's starting where as qualifying has concluded and the grid's been set for the Highline Racing League's first trip to Bristol with the Gen 4 stock car era. Now, with high horsepower and high speeds, a short track brings them back. Tempers flared last time at Martinsville, but here in the Classic Colosseum 200, hoping for some cleaner racing. Without further ado, getting things going, it's Adam Bozzi in the number 27 machine lining up on the pole position. It's Bozzi up in front, a two-time winner of the season, still in the thick of the championship contention as he's got his teammate, of course, further on back in the field right behind, but it's the Blacktop Racing driver of Kendall Kerr, the number 21, starting second on that front row. Then from there, you'll see Chad Winstead, who's been on a hot streak of late, winning at Michigan to get that first oval victory. Came here just a few weeks ago in the Highline Racing League, got it done. He'll be starting third, and Alan Cummin with some tricky races as of recent, hoping to rebound, starting outside of row number 2. In the 4th position. Then from there, going to be Dylan Petit in position number 5, and Scott Zellner, who currently finds himself the pole sitter and, well, how should we phrase that? It's going to be the points leader. He's the first man there, but not the first man tonight in qualifying outside of row 3. He'll be starting in 6th. Then from there, Brad Kress is going to be in the number 9 machine, starting inside of row number 4, with Casey Heschel, the 8th place driver in qualifying, returning for the first time this season. Casey's got a shot to drive, and now puts himself in the driver's seat, starting 8th in the field. Then from there, going to be James McKee inside of row number 5, starting in the 9th spot, with Scott Wheeler rounding out your top 10 in the number 97 after a very strong run just a week ago. Then from there, you're going to see Connor Holden in the number 81 machine, 11th place for Holden, as he now has Caleb Morrissey in the channel lock for Taurus to his outside, with the top dozen rounded out by Caleb. 13th place going to be held then by Ty Smith in the number 18 crew, as Terry Brooks in number 23 put it into the 14th position here in qualifying. Then from there, it's going to be 15th held by Kenny Brooks, and 14th is going to be, of course, just ahead for Terry, but Michael Deitch is the 16th man outside of row number 8, and Michael Deitch going full-time next season, back on the way in the number 46 machine. Tonight, though, looks like he's racing in the 57, not able to change his paint scheme. Final 2 drivers, Roberto Ramirez and Ryan Potter, to round out the 18-car field in Bristol. This is the Classic Colosseum 200, and this is your starting grid for tonight's events. Adam Bozzi up in front of this one, has 2 wins on the season already, most recently winning at a previous short track in Martinsville. The 2-time winner got it done, the Lady in Black first, then came through with a victory in Martinsville, which is a very, very tricky race for these guys to get out of. But when we got out of Martinsville, it's been a bit of a colder run for Adam Bozzi, but the Garage Beer number 27 machine knows he's still got a lot of pace to keep an eye on here. He's not done just yet. Matter of fact, he's only getting started. But Scott Zellner, despite the fact he's missed several races, now has a major points lead, and the deficit for all of their drivers is going to be tough to come back for him, because now your all-time winningest driver has momentum, and he has the points lead, and it's going to be hard to stop Zellner for the remainder of the season. He's got an advantage, but not all is said and done. Bozzi, chasing after win number 3 on a career season, will lead the field to the green flag as we get things going from Bristol. The Classic Colosseum 200 is underway. At the line that time around, we go to lap number 3, and already some side-by-side multi-groove racing up in front. Kendall Kerr is going to get the race lead from Adam Bozzi. He goes up high to do so, and now finds himself with the advantage up on the front of the field as drivers wiggle further on back, mostly going to be single file as drivers develop their grooves and get ready for the racing. Usually at Bristol, we're able to get into a nicer run to kick things off, and then from there, maybe see a bit more trouble. But right now, the drivers playing nice with each other, knowing how much time we have. These first 100 laps are set to fly by. If drivers keep it calm, next half might not be so much. In the Iora Cup Series, which ran almost the exact same combo today, well, the Gen 4s and Next Gens are not very similar. They run almost the entirely same line around the track, similar speeds as well. When they come together on track, cautions breed cautions. The Iora Cup Series saw first half filled with trouble, but the second half, not as much. We came home with about a 25-lap green flag run to finish things off. A very nice way to end the race. And right now, these guys focused on their starts. It's going to be Scott Wheeler right there with Caleb Morrissey. James McKee going to be there in 11th. Connor Holden is 12th. Ty Smith 13th. Looking further back, all 18 drivers are on the way. Going back to Ryan Potter and the number 99. Potter having some struggles this season as opposed to some better runs last season with the Next Gens, but still trying to get to grips as he finds himself 18th on the board. Coming through this time by for Kendall Kerr, hitting it up to lap number 9. Tango Paints, your one-stop shop for iRacing graphic design, and as always, the provider here on FTN for all coverage, be it lap 9 or anything else on the network. If you need something regarding your iRacing paint schemes and liveries, check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information, spelled exactly as you see in the top left of your screen. That's Tango Paints, your one-stop shop for iRacing paint schemes, and we'll bring you back after a brief promotional break, courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints. Come back 12 laps into 200, looking at a baker's dozen next time by. Kendall Kerr grabs the early lead and keeps things going from there. Jacob Hom and Bakugo fan 1, 2, 3 in chat, watching all of tonight's festivities, and Bristol Motor Speedway so far so good for the drivers here in the Highline Racing League. Kendall Kerr going to be the leading man, Bozzi going to be second, Scott Zellner third, and Casey Heschel then in fourth. That's the way they roll. Not bad in the slightest right now for Casey Heschel. As a matter of fact, a very impressive run to kick things off. And Heschel, we have not seen all too much of him in Season 16. As a matter of fact, haven't seen any of him since the latter half of Season 15. But he comes back and might not be with a vengeance, but he's driving with a purpose and already finds himself up inside the top 5, 15 laps in. Coming through this time by, it's going to be Scott Zellner working up top, Casey Heschel way down low, and it looks like now Heschel's got himself room in the all-red number 49, trying to make things happen with Chad Winstead right behind as well. Two drivers pretty in pink tonight, Chad Winstead and Dylan Petit. Dylan's going to go way up top in the Caterpillar number 31. Not as much success right now for him. He's had some good runs as of recent, avoiding some chaos, getting some podium finishes, so Dylan knows that tonight might play in his favor if all goes well and avoiding all the attrition-based action we sometimes see at these short tracks. Alan Cunman going to be there in 7th, Scott Wheeler is in 8th, Caleb Morrissey 9th, and Brad Kress position number 10. Now, tonight, you see that it's a different paint scheme for the Brad Kress crew, and there's a reason. It's not on the thumbnail of tonight's broadcast, but it almost was. That Great Clips number 9, not necessarily one of the paint schemes that we saw from Casey Kane in his Cup Series career. However, in the Nationwide Series about 15 years ago, a very famous incident, I'd say, more so infamous than famous, happened on this circuit, and it was a fantastic showing of how these drivers sometimes face a bit more than anyone could expect. Casey Kane riding the wall quite literally sideways, and his car was propped up 90 degrees on the barrier and had to roll. It was flames. The tires actually broke off of the car. The pictures are fantastic. If you look up Casey Kane Bristol number 38 machine, because he was in the Nationwide ride, you'll find a bit more information about that incident. It's quite the spectacular look, and right now, while Brad Kress hopes to avoid seeing that trouble, he's got the Casey Kane paint scheme, a throwback and all, looking to get back up in front as Casey Kane Kane, of course a very successful driver just about 15 years back. Ken Leclerc leads the way in the number 21, advantageous over Adam Bozzi. No major gap so far, and that number 21 machine opts to stay on the high side here, leading the way. Bozzi going to be second, now looking off the back bumper of Bozzi. The gap is clear, however Ken Leclerc still has a lot to deal with. Top two drivers remain within about 0.2 of a second within one another. It's going to be a Chevy on Ford battle, a classic American rivalry, and the Bowtie Brigade leads over the Blue Ovals, first and second with Bozzi trying to claw down low on the bottom side. 25 laps in of 200. Scott Zellner going to be third right now. He breaks through as Dylan Petit and Casey Heschel continue to fight. Your points leader once again up in front, and these Gen 4s, ever since the exhibition debut in the 300-mile race we saw in May, Scott Zellner's been the man week in, week out, and he has a points lead for that reason. Despite missing several races, he didn't think he'd have a chance to make something happen in terms of his season. He thought it was a wash from missing a few races in succession, as he did last season to welcome, of course, the birth of his first child. It's a different scenario this season, because it looks like he's been able to pull it back together and become a dominant force race in, race out. Coming through this time by 28 laps in, out of 200. Ken Leclerc is going to lead the way and finds himself there still with close pressure right behind. Take a lap on board with Ken Leclerc right now to see what's going on with the 21. You can see how close Ken Leclerc is to losing that lead, just trying to put some defensive pressure on the high side. But Adam Bozzi, he gets down there and he finds the gap no matter what. Going way down low, time and time again, Adam Bozzi lunges it deep and gives just enough reason for Ken Leclerc to go right up top. Side by side, Ken Leclerc on the higher, and it's Adam Bozzi way down low. They're neck and neck once again, but Bozzi just cannot seal the deal. A very close fight up in front. Look further back, and they're even closer. It's 2 by 2, 3 rows deep, and it's going to continue to stay that way so long as they can just keep it with one another. Looks like Kenny Brooks is going to come off pit road this time by. 7 laps down for the driver of the number 54, and just like that, it's one driver several laps down. Michael Deitch just retired from the event. Looks like he's going to have to disconnect early. Just like that, 2 drivers in big trouble to kick this one off. Front runners getting away, and you can see the lap machines already getting close. Roberto Ramirez is going to see some pressure from the leaders. Ramirez goes up top, lets him by quite easily, and just like that, Ken Leclerc got himself another smooth move to get by the first lap machine of the night on pace. Naturally speaking, Roberto Ramirez, the first man to fall 1 lap down, and the 42 machine already seeing trouble as the front end is clearly bent in. You'll see right there the damage on the number 42 machine a bit more evidently. Take a close-up drone shot, and you'll see Ramirez in the M&M machine not faring all too well that time by. Not too far off the pace in particular, but the problem is he lost so much time before the tires began to wear that now he's 1 lap down and caught there, stuck there for the time being. The Food City 500 is held here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, we're not racing for 500 laps tonight. We're going about 40% of that distance in terms of 500 laps, not 500 miles. I mean, 500 miles of Bristol would be a large amount of time because that's 1,000 laps. That would be almost imperceivable in regards to drivers in terms of what they'd want. Yeah, I don't think they'd ever last 1,000 laps at Bristol. This might not be the biggest of tracks, but it gets physical, and you gotta work the wheel, you gotta work the pedals, understand the strategy, and it's a taxing race, not only physically, but mentally at the same time. So you gotta understand all the facets of racing that really go into a night like that. The long haul would really be a rough one to deal with. These drivers don't have such a problem. It's only 200 laps tonight and only 100 miles, and a great start tonight. 39 laps in, all clean, all green, fantastic racing. And the Highline Racing League seen some troubles as of recent in regards to having yellow flags successively. The last few weeks have been going pretty deep into the 11th hour in terms of our time zone here at FTN, we work pretty late in the night here, but it looks like the night might not be such a case. 40 laps in, and a very nice start for every driver running their own race, minding their own business, and tonight, long green flag runs are possible, not only because of the clean nature of the racing, but it could be Caleb Morrissey who gets into it, but luckily keeps it straight. Nice move there from Morrissey as he keeps it green, keeps it clean. Connor Holden goes right up top. And just like that, it's going to be Holden making some time. Dylan Petit going to be there in the number 31 machine. Scott Zellner is going to be up top, scrapes the wall, and for Zellner in the rocket ship early, seeing some trouble right now, fading back into the 10th position. It might fade back even further. He left place for Scott Zellner. It could be even 12th now as Dylan Petit looked for the spot at the same time. Kendall Kerr leads the way with Adam Bozzi then second, Chad Winstead third, James McKee fourth. In the top 5 right now, routed out by Scott Wheeler. Wheeler working it well up in front of the field, and number 97 machine, the back-to-back champion during the ARCA Menards era of the Highline Racing League and the initial next-gen season, knows what it's like to be versatile behind the wheel. However, Wheeler is often a long green flag run guy, and especially in season 14, his championship then, he was fantastic at pulling away and getting the lead and never going back. He might have not been that fastest guy in the opening 10-lap run. Might have not been the fastest during the first 20 or 30, but you let him get away and go around, get past the drivers, and keep on going. I'll tell you this much, he was a guy who could just run away from the field and get it on the long run. And not a lot of drivers have that capability of really being a specialist that far into the race. In particular, one memory comes back from season 14, the 210-mile night at Charlotte, and it was a fantastic day for him, able to run away after the first pit stop, and moving from there, huge gains. Just like that, the driver of the number 21 machine, though, Kendall Kerr, remains the leader. It's close, but still no final call. Bozzi keeps it entertaining, but just has not been able to make him move down low. Moving Adam Bozzi is a tough thing, but moving Kendall Kerr, that's a whole nother situation. 48 laps in of 200, and the Lucas Oil Chevrolet has the advantage. Coming up now on Zellner, who looked great, looked promising yet again, but right now, seeing a bit more trouble. And nearly 50 laps in already, most drivers getting a bit further spread out. You'll see Connor Holden's there. Alan Cummins in the number 8 spot is running that 8 machine and finds the Flow Racing crew just within the middle of the pack. 17 drivers on the track right now. Michael Deitch, unfortunately, having to pull it off the track early, and it looks like for Deitch just not able to make tonight stick as the number 46 machine retires early in the going. Then from there, you'll see Alan Cummins' number 8 spot going to be in jeopardy now as Ryan Potter goes up top, and man, oh man, looks like it comes right back to bite Ryan. Potter is going to fade way back into it. 8th place right now for the driver who started 18th and last, and he was making gains there. Substantial gains, as a matter of fact. Just does not work out now as Casey Heschel drops down to pit road for your first competitive pit stop of the day. 52 laps in, Casey Heschel drives it right through, and number 49 machine sitting pretty on pit road has a much cleaner machine than he'd, of course, expect to have. It looks like a very clean race opener so far, and the Highline Racing League seeing some green flag pit stops, and we have seen it many times before. Great to see it once again. Potter going to be down low, so is Dylan Petit, and not to mention you'll see Scott Zellner there, Casey Heschel in addition. Every driver making it in this time by, and 54 laps in of 200 will put up your top 3 on the board as pit cycle is going to make everyone shift up a few spots, give or take. Now you'll see the pit cycle is going to give some drivers who are not up in front right now the chance to lead those laps. Caleb Morrissey goes way high. There's not enough room for the 3 of them, and the number 98 machine opts to run it up top and keep things going once again. He rubs up to the high side once more. Kendall Kerr has to go down to the bottom, and that's going to give a temporary halt to these leaders as they stop their battle, have to get by a lapper, and then construct the rest of the race. I mean, it's tough right now, these lappers going by, and they're not running at a bad pace. It just happens to be these leaders are that much faster, lap in, lap out. Only 9 drivers remain on the lead lap right now, going back to Terry Brooks and the number 23 machine. Brooks with fantastic pace gets in there early. Dylan Petit's going to be on pit road early and now finds himself there rolling in the 13th spot. Scott Zellner is going to be 14th. Ryan Potter is 15th, and Ty Smith finds himself in the 16th position position with Kenny Brooks 8 laps down now, and he finds himself now in the 17th spot, but maybe gaining on Ty Smith, as Smith is still down on pit road following what it looks to be an extensive stop down to the pit road, and there could be trouble for Ty Smith and Ryan Potter alike, now 6 and 7 laps down respectively, and they'll both be down there, as it seems like more trouble for those drivers than they'd anticipate, and they've only been on pit road for just under 2 minutes, so that's bad news as Kendall Kerr and Adam Bozzi continue a fantastic battle. Bozzi continued to put down that pressure, and so far he's been in second just about every lap on the day. Had a glimpse at first early, now puts himself there in the second spot. Top two, first and second, running right there, back and forth. Just cannot make a difference. It's still the podium, but it's been different order only once or twice. At 61 laps in, Kendall Kerr remains supreme. Kendall Kerr still looking up there. First place he's been in for almost every lap. When you check how many laps he's led, it's evident he's had most control. 60 out of 61. Dominant so far, grabbing the lead on the second lap and never looking back. It's been a great ride so far for Kerr, the number 21. Of course, not too quick in regards to relative pace, to just at dead even, but it's absolutely going to be a hard-fought battle between the both of these guys all night long to see if anyone can break out with an advantage. Kendall Kerr stays high, and that's all he needs to do to maintain the lead. Leads another lap, and you'll see the numbers continue to fly higher and higher as long as Kendall Kerr continues to lead those laps. Now, pit road got busy a few laps ago with multiple drivers coming in. Casey Heschel leads the drivers who have gone down to pit road for one stop already. Then you'll see Dylan Petit, Scott Zellner, Roberto Ramirez, and then from there you'll see Kenny Brooks. So there were some pit stops put into play. The cycle is in motion, and 65 laps in, it's Kendall Kerr and Adam Bozzi who opted to stay out. They're bringing James McKee in third with them, not to mention Chad Winstead fourth, Scott Wheeler fifth, Alan Cummins sixth, and Connor Holton in seventh, with Terry Brooks position number 8 and Brad Kress then in ninth. Kress comes down to pit road, this time by after a 65 lap run. And with Brad down and in, another driver makes their way down. And just like that, limping down to pit road, another man comes in Connor Holden. Terry Brooks is also going to be on the move with Alan Cummins there in 6th. Scott Wheeler is the 5th driver in terms of position right now, and keeps himself there as pit road becomes busy once more. 67 laps in, out of 200, make it 68, and no caution so far in a very action-packed race here in Bristol. The lead battle has never been anything more than about 0.3 of a second at the very most. That's how close these drivers have been to one another all throughout. And for Adam Bozzi, he maintains his position right behind Kendall Kerr, just looking for any opportunity to dive deep and make something stick. Just hasn't found it yet. Connor Holden down to pit road, as we mentioned. Caleb Morrissey got slow that time by, but does not go down and in. It's Bozzi down to the bottom, and as close as he gets, just hasn't been able to find it this time by. And you'll see Elaine Coons in chat. Thank you for stopping by. Rooting for Scott Zellner. Zellner with a bit more trouble than usual tonight. 3 laps down, but he did go down a pit road, so he's not in the worst of circumstances. Just has to continue to get back up there, gain those spots back, and he should be back inside of top 5 contention if all goes well. Now that, of course, requires a much better cycle for him than the rest of the field. And right now, his pit cycle time, not the slowest of all, but looks like it's still not one of the quickest as well. There's going to be a lot of strategy that comes into play tonight, and the green flag run has given us 72 laps so far of non-stop racing. So far, so good, as Kendall Kerr leads the way once again. You'll see Dylan Petit, the lappers, looking for an opportunity to get by the leading drivers. See how good those new tires are. When Petit just drops it down low, wherever he pleases to go, he will go, and the 31 makes it by just like that. Dylan Petit, another driver, he gets right through, and that 31 machine, keep an eye out for it. It's another man on a mission. Lap drivers getting their laps back. Scott Zellner set to be the next man to do so, but still about 3 seconds away from the number 2 machine. Dylan Petit has that gap and the advantage as Zellner continues to try and chase him down. 75 laps in, at 200. It's tricky to see what's going to be played out here. A lot of drivers came in early, and a lot of guys now look to be staying out late. So is it going to be a 2-stop strategy, a 1-stopper that gets them there? It's going to be hard to tell based on how they've driven so far, but could change as we see Kendall Kerr once again sees a lunge down low, opts to stay high, by, and not giving into that pressure is the most important thing right now for a driver, especially in this circumstance. You cannot afford to have a driver go down to your inside so many times and be falling for that bait. It's a move that tries to distract drivers, and for good reason, of course. Trying to get that spot away from your competitor, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice to find that proper move without flat out wrecking him. You don't want to see that in the slightest. So for Adam Bozzi, racing with respect right now, trying to find the perfect move to make, perfect opportunity to take it down low. He'll take it now here as Scott Zellner is going to distract the both of them. Zellner down to the bottom for a brief moment, goes right back up, and the new tires once again pass right by. And most drivers right now are about 2 laps down compared to our leaders who will opt to stay on the circuit every time around. James McKee and Scott Wheeler are separate, 3rd and 4th respectively. Chad Winstead right now finds himself 5th. Alan Cummin is going to be 6th, and Terry Brooks is in 7th. 8 laps in for Brooks. Not all a bad night for him, but still has a pit stop to make, so he may fall 1 lap down at least temporarily, as now Scott Zellner is making time on number 23 as well. Old tires are starting to see that degradation. That time by for Kendall Kerr, it was a 16.256. His best lap was a 14.925 or 985, looking at further calculations. So with that being said, over 1 second of tire wear every time around, and the same goes for Adam Bozzi, and likewise further on back. These drivers up ahead are slower. It might not be substantially, but they're losing about a second and a half each and every lap, and that's the way they're going. And the way things have gone so far, of course, green flag action, you're going to continue to wear out those tires, but there is an upside at the end of the day. Running longer not only means less pit stops most often, but in addition, it also means when you get back out there, you'll be as fast as you possibly can be, and you'll have a chance to burn up your stuff a bit more. Now, not necessarily burn up without any understanding or reckless abandon, but it means to burn up your stuff, use up your equipment, and understand that you got a chance to push 110%, use it. And these drivers are going to be much faster out in the gate, knowing you don't have to conserve as much. You'll be a bit quicker, have that speed to push yourself back on, and 84 laps in, already running nearly halfway already, and you'll see trying to get through the action. Adam Bozzi still in 2nd, trying to weasel his way through. Kendall Kerr leads the 2 drivers up in front, trying to get their way around the pack of lappers, and the 21 machine gets the edge. Terry Brooks, not so much as Alan Cummin finds trouble, and Cummin's alone on the track, and he's backing up. Cummin's going to maybe cause a caution here. That he does not, and Alan Cummin saves it, but not without a lot of trouble there. So Cummin has the first real issue of the night, and Pit Road bites him back. This time, though, he is going to spin down alone, and no caution going to be called because nobody else involved, and Cummin looks like he's going to play it as safe as possible, get back going, and he disconnects. He does not get the caution, and he needs, and the yellow flag not going to fly. So Alan Cummin disconnects immediately thereafter. Yellow flag will not go, and Kendall Kerr leads 88 laps in after an incident there involving the number 8. So Cummin's night is done then and there. Number 8 machine out of the way, and it looks like only 2 drivers out of this one. Michael Deitch, Alan Cummin. Fading back now is Cummin, but Michael Deitch already dead last on the night. 89 laps through, so far so good for Kendall Kerr. Bozzi going to be 2nd, James McKee 3rd, Scott Wheeler 4th, and Chad Winstead then in 5th. The U.S. Air Force number 34 going to be last of the drivers inside the top 5, and only going to be 14 seconds off and now 1 lap down. The dominance from these leaders is unbelievable. These 2 are running at about the same pace every lap. It's as if these 2 are conjoined to one another. Fantastic driving inside and out. Kendall Kerr, Bozzi, McKee, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, running up there 91 laps in. Take a look on board with Adam Bozzi once again. As you'll see, it's the number 27 so trying to roll with your leading driver. Bozzy getting there, the runner-up man, watching on board as pit stops continue. This time by Scott Wheeler surrenders track position and comes down, and in 93 laps in and a no caution run so far at Bristol, nearly halfway down, and another driver comes into pit road. And here at Bristol, you got to do pit road a bit different. You go through both pit lanes to make it in, which means it's a very, very slow time through each and every pit stop, which wastes you in excess of 30 seconds before you really get to your pit stop. So these drivers have to wait a long time before even getting service, and you gotta make it clear to the drivers here, you gotta make it a very, very quick entry and exit, because when you're on pit road, you're on there for a while, and it's gonna take a long time to get back out, maximize your way in, maximize your way out, and you'll be in much better standing to gain some spots and keep what you already have. Jacob Hall in chat saying it's a masterclass of driving between these top two drivers. I'd have to agree. Fantastic so far. These two guys have been on the same pace, a lap in, lap out. Very impressive so far, and they've left the field in the dust because James McKee goes down to pit road this time by, and save for your two drivers who are now within 1/10 of a second of each other, everyone else is at least one lap down. That's how good these top two have been, and Kendall Kerr in particular, leading almost every lap of this race, has gone to show you don't have to start on pole to lead almost everything. 96 laps in at a 97. He's 5 laps away from clinching the most laps led award, and we've only gotten to the halfway point at lap 101. That's how good Kendall Kerr continues to be as he comes down to pit road, cuts off Bozzy. The top two are in, and just like that, number 21 makes it through unscathed. Another driver comes in this time by with Terry Brooks set to gain that race lead. Brooks has not yet come down to pit road at all and set to lead a lap, if not two, this time by MDLXL, rooting of course for the Caleb Morrissey crew, running now in the 12th spot and hoping to cycle up a bit further. Different strategy for Morrissey. He stayed out a bit longer, so right now the benefits of that strategy not in full display, but Kendall Kerr this time by racing with Bozzy down into pit road as Terry Brooks opts to lead that lap. 100 laps in, Terry Brooks has the advantage, and the Culture Design Chevrolet is up there in front, leading the way, and it is going to be another Chevy Impala on top of the board. Casey Heschel now going to be in second, but Casey has cycled through on pit road once already, which means now Casey's got the race lead. 100 laps to go. 100 down already. We've hit the triple digits, and Terry Brooks makes it down to the bottom of the track. It's going to be another driver making it in, and just like that, your first pit cycle is over. It looks like a lot of drivers will be safe to go for a one-stop strategy. Other drivers, not so much. And for Caleb Morrissey, he's one of the guys who might be safer, but for Casey Heschel right now, it's going to be a risk maybe not worth taking with how early he came down to pit road about 50 laps ago. 99 laps remaining this time by, with Dylan Petit seeing the first caution of the day, and the cause looks to be Kendall Kerr, and your former race leader goes around. Yellow flag is out, and with 98 laps to go, we see trouble after the halfway point. And Kendall Kerr going to be the reason for this first caution. Let's find out just what happened. Backwards by this point, so we'll take it back just a bit further. Kendall Kerr, after leading almost 100 laps, sees the yellow flag fly, drifting through turn 3 and 4, and then Adam Bozzy taps him, and the two former race leaders making contact, and that is a huge deal for the both of them. The juggernauts who led almost all night long will find themselves now pacing, both out of racing for the contention of the lead. Now, Bozzy might not be done for sure, and maybe Kendall Kerr still got a chance, but that's very bad news as Kerr is going to go one extra lap down before fully recovering. 96 laps to go. The caution flies for the first time today, and the yellow flag out. Going to bring us back to pacing for the first time since we got things going early on in Bristol. Just like that, pit road going to become active as Casey Heschel comes in this time by, going to bring Dylan Petit, Connor Holden in as well. Now we got a bit of time to take a look at what's going on here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. For our viewers who watch the Iora Cup Series broadcast, we did this as well, but how about we take ourselves a virtual track walk and find out what's going on here in Tennessee. A half-mile track with high banking and high speeds as well. Bristol Motor Speedway, unique, and in all honesty, almost no other track on the planet quite like it. Half-mile circuit with a lot of character to it. A concrete surface for many, many decades. As of recent, has been repaid a few times over. Maybe not as characteristic in terms of its very most important characters. such as its very bumpy surface, which does not exist quite anymore. It's more smooth, a bit simpler, but still a very well-known track for its intricacies, and all that comes with Bristol. There's always chaos and there's always tempers that are flaring. And right now, the start-finish line being empty, drivers will fly by us through the corners. Pit road going to be active once again, and Kenny Brooks right now with the lappers who stayed out. Kendall Kerr in that same boat right now, and Roberto Ramirez right there as well. Lappers and leaders combined once again for one row of drivers, and the last great Coliseum, as you see on the top of your screen, plays host here to the Highline Racing League as they keep things going in a fantastic tour. 9 races in, and we've got only a few weeks left. The virtual grandstands are packed as well, and we really take it for a much higher look at the top of the track. You'll see the scale of this track. Quite small, however, big in stature, and these drivers know the reputation of Bristol means you want to win here no matter what. 94 laps to go, and taking that final look away from Bristol, we'll take it back to your normal cameras here as Casey Heschel is your race leader on his season debut. It's Heschel up in front, 94 laps to go. Then Connor Holden second, Scott Zellner third, and fourth, Brad Kress. 5th, Dylan Petit, and then from there, 6th and Adam Bozzi, and 7th place, James McKee as they come through this time by. 93 laps to go this time through, set to restart at lap 109. Let's get things going once again. And as always here in FTN, the Tango paints lap 109, what we're coming up on, and a first clean run of over 100 laps brings us to this point. So for all intents and purposes, a fantastic way to start this race. First caution of the day, only going to bring us back here with just about 92 laps left. Green flag going to fly this time by for lap 109. Casey Heschel gets a huge jump, and the leader gets on his way once again. And as always here on FTN, Tango Paints also providing lap 109 to all our viewers for all high-quality iRacing paint scheme, graphic design needs. Check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information, spelled as you see in the top left of your screen. Tango Paints, the one-stop shop for all of iRacing's paint scheme needs. Check out them after tonight's broadcast on Twitter. Toll over to the entire team who've been creating high-quality paint schemes since 2021. And we'd love to have you join the Tango Paints family, partnered with FTN. We'll bring you back after a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints on Twitter. Come back now, the Tango Paints promotional break out of the way. Second word of the day, and I'll tell you this much, for all your paint scheme needs, no better place to go. We see them often here on FTN. I mean, 4 Cup Series, Joey Stone and Justin Mons in particular, they've been running Tango Paints since the very first race of that season on Wednesdays, and we'd love to have you watching all throughout the week. Got a great crowd here on late Thursday nights, and I'll tell you this much, I think this is one of the best races we've seen all season, if not the absolute best. Love to see short track racing with a lot of thought put into it, a lot of effort by every driver to keep things clean. Bristol by no means is an easy track, and now of course these Gen 4s, never easy as well. You gotta work the car, you gotta work the track, and all those factors combined for usually some rough racing here at the last great Coliseum. But tonight, not so much. Only 1 caution so far, and been a much better effort than the past few weeks. And these drivers know they're capable of going for long green flag distances. Just looks like they've had some trouble in doing so as of recent, but now hoping to put that all beside them and go back to finish off this season with some fantastic racing efforts like what we've seen so far tonight. And it looks like 84 laps to go this time by the body shop 29 way up high here. That's going to be James McKee with Scott Zellner on the bottom. Zellner, who's gone up and down on the track as high as the podium early. Now he's seen his lows even further beyond the top 15. He's up there in the top 5 once again for a brief moment. James McKee takes right back, and they'll be switching and swapping spots back and forth. Dylan Petit right there too, and Petit's going to drop way down to the bottom. 31 machine right there with the Lucas Oil Chevrolet side by side for a brief instant, but Ken Loker is quick, and despite the fact he's a lap machine, he's still racing with the best of them, trying to make time back up. I mean, I'll tell you this much, for both the drivers we thought had a fair chance at winning, Adam Bozzi still might be up there, but he's still got a lot of work to do. He's now in the 4th position, and that 27 machine not accustomed to anything out of the top 2 for the first half of the race, consecutive for over 100 laps in the 2nd spot, and then he went down to pit road and found himself in some trouble immediately thereafter. That's what really set him back and almost lost him a chance at winning here in Bristol, but it's still not done just yet. With 79 laps to go, there's an opportunity to maybe make something happen as Casey Heschel leads the way from Brad Kress, Connor Holden, and Adam Bozzi there on out. That's the way they roll, and Heschel has been fantastic on debut, as we mentioned, and now doing much more than expected of him on a great return night. The number 49 leads the way with Brad Kress 2nd, Connor Holden 3rd, and Adam Bozzi then in 4th. Looking further back to the guys fighting just beyond the top 5 spear now, as you mentioned, Scott Zellner, he's gone up and down and once again seen just a bit more of that. It's getting a number 8 spot held by Zellner right now, and it looks like it's continuing a day that's been up and down all throughout. Looking at Scott Zellner's race information, a low of 14th, a high of 2nd goes to show how fluctuating this track has been for a guy like number 2 True, and Scott Zellner in particular really feeling those effects. Right now, 8th place in a long run speed, not with him tonight, and even though he's been so great all season long, everyone has that one race you just can't keep up with the field, and even though Zellner's still there in the mid-pack, he's just showing signs that tonight might not be at his best track. Putting in his best effort regardless to try to get back up there. 74 laps to go. Casey Heschel has the edge. Brad Kress going to be 2nd, Connor Holden 3rd, and Adam Bozzi 4th. That's the way they roll with 73 laps to go. Right now, they're all close to each other in this bundle from first on back. While Casey Heschel has the lead, Brad Kress will not let him go quite easy. And with 73 remaining, Kress is still there in the Great Clips Dodge, trying to make something work and trying to get even closer to making the pass and setting himself up for it as we speak. It's getting to be a very close call, lap in, lap out for Casey Heschel, losing time in terms of his leading advantage, and now coming up on Caleb Morrissey, a lap driver. Morrissey goes up top, 1 lap down in it stands, set to go 2 down when we come through for the next few laps. Caleb Morrissey goes up to the top side already, preparing for what is yet to come, but not yet so far for Casey Heschel. Just hasn't been able to make up enough time to immediately claw right back. For Casey Heschel, lap time by number 49 machine's going to be now leading the way with 70 laps to go. Further on back, McKee is going to be chasing with Adam Bozzi, Connor Holden right there as well, Dylan Petit, Scott Wheeler in a bundle, and Scott Zellner still holding on. However, right now in 8th, 2 seconds back, Chad Winstead, 69 remaining. Very nice job so far for Casey Heschel to get back into the mix here, and even though Ken Loker has just about officially locked up the most laps led title on the day with 98 so far out of 132, there's still a chance for another driver to make it back and maybe take a few other laps to make it a close fight. And right now, Casey Heschel doing just that. In a 28-lap tire run, he's found himself as the leader for more than 20 of which, and now the number 49 machine is coming up on Caleb Morrissey even closer now. 98 machine goes up top, 49 remains right down low, and Heschel tries to make something of it, but the red machine just can't at this moment. Now it's going to be Morrissey on that high side, trying to work something up, but just can't find the perfect opportunity as the channel lock number 98 machine holds it up high. Heschel's finally got the chance and will bring Brad Kress right there with them and make it quick and easy for the crew up in front. Morrissey remains up high, not much more else that he can do, so he's playing it as simple as it gets. Connor Holden right now battling with Adam Bozzi, and we'll take it off the back bumper here of the 81 machine as Connor Holden runs currently in 3rd, seeing some pressure now from Bozzi and Terry Brooks at the same time. Bozzi remains right there side by side for a brief moment, tries to make that lunge stick, and he's getting closer. Take a look inside the cockpit. It's a bit of a mixed view. The cockpit on one side, the track on the other. Bozzi's got that bottom groove working, and this is one of the best camera angles we've got in all of the Gen 4 package. think this one really goes to show how different it is inside of the car compared to outside. Hoping to work it calm and smooth every lap. When you see a driver lunging on you every time around, every turn, it becomes troublesome. It becomes that much harder to really work stuff out. Third place right now for Holden, but that's in jeopardy every time they go through. 62 laps to go, that time by. Coming down even further, it's going to be Brad Kress in second, Casey Heschel in first, 61 laps to go, and the laps continue to fly by. And right now, the laps really don't matter for Heschel so long as he keeps that lead coming back in style, and I'm sure it's going to be one race to remember for him, trying to get that rebound run to come back after a successful season 15. He just was not able to finish it out due to time constraints, and as a result, not running for points this season as well. Either way, still up there as you'll see the battle continue just behind your top two. Connor Holden's got the edge over Adam Bozzi, and now Caleb Morrissey, the lap machine, is there at the same time. And Kerr right up top, number 21 machine in the mix as well. And he's got Terry Brooks to his bottom side. Brooks is in 10th. Kendall Kerr is in the 11th. These are the lap machines battling though, because Brooks and Kerr are on the same lap, but they're not with the leader. So it's a mix between your leading guys, your guys that are 1 lap down, and your guys that are 2 laps down. So it's a lot of drivers all coming into one spot and running relatively similar laps, time in and time out. So it looks like right now, despite the fact they're all running their own race and honestly running very different situations, they're up there and they're fighting each other as if they're going position for position. It's not that simple though. And tonight, it has been a relatively simple race and strategy. However, some calls have worked out better than others, and so far only 9 drivers remain on the lead lap with only 2 retirees. Most drivers who entered this one have kept on going, 16 of which, as a matter of fact. And even though Ryan Potter and Ty Smith are now 93 and 94 laps down respectively, they are still on the track and have a chance to go back on if they need to. Casey Heschel leads, 55 to go. Brad Kress is still there in the second spot, and you'll see Adam Bozzi way back in third. He got by Connor Holden. Took him a long while, but finally got things moving, and Bozzi's back on the podium with 3.3 seconds to gain back up in front if he wants any chance at the race win. At 54 laps to go this time by, Casey Heschel has that advantage. It's going to be Brad Kress not too far back, Bozzi in third, Connor Holden then in fourth. Right on board right now with the driver number 23 machine in the, of course, Terry Brooks' crew. They're running right now inside of the top 10, but just barely. 10th place for Terry Brooks, running with the leaders and the lappers. We'll take a lap on board right now with this 23 to find out what's going on in the mix with the most intense pack. Right now for Terry Brooks, running as well as it gets up in front in terms of lap machines, but Kendall Kerr right there as well. And for the guys who are at least 1 lap down, Kendall Kerr, Terry Brooks going back and forth on position, and they're going to keep fighting each other until all is done here in Bristol. While they're not racing for the race lead, they know that every position is still as important as it gets, especially in the points fight where Kendall Kerr has been very strong all season long, and Terry Brooks no slouch either. So even though they're 1 lap down, the fight is still on, and we'll keep seeing those 2 drivers go at it until the checkered flag flies. Now only 49 laps away. A rapid race here in Bristol, one of the cleanest we've seen all season long, as a matter of fact. And the night has slowly but surely come to its crunch time stage. Casey Heschel's got the edge, and with 48 laps to do it, has a 2.5 second advantage over Brad Kress. Running so far up ahead for Casey Heschel, really nothing more he's got to worry about besides making it each and every lap without major trouble. Not limping around the track, keeping it up there in cruise control has helped them out substantially. You don't have to push too hard with such an advantage. Just make sure you know exactly what you have to do and follow it each and every time. That's been the game plan for Casey Heschel. He's got the lead now by nearly 3 seconds over Brad Kress. Bozzi's going to be third. Dylan Petit is going to be fourth. Sounder is going to be fifth. And James McKee is then going to be in 6th. It looks like right now Connor Holden finds himself fading back a bit further into 7th, and the big pack is slowly but surely unraveling as more drivers find their long run pace. Some guys are quicker than others and vice versa. And right now it looks like they're all coming back into a longer green flag run. One caution so far on the day. Been fantastic, clean racing all throughout. And now coming down to the final leg of the tour, it's Heschel advantage with 158 laps in the books. Brad Crest in second, Bozzi in third, and Dylan Petit in fourth, with Scott Zellner rounding out the top five. It's been up and down the order, a lot of very similar runs, but it is the difference of track position. And those drivers who opted to go in later to pit road, they've made out like bandits. Casey Heschel's only been on his run for 53 laps. Likewise for Brad Crest, who's been on his for 53 as well. Adam Bozzi's been on his run for 59 laps. And for James McKee, he's an anomaly. He's in 6th place right now, but he's been on his run for a total of 62 laps. So as a matter of fact, James McKee is one of the longest runners on the entirety of the circuit, let alone the guys inside the top 10. Chad Winstead's in 8th with a 69 lap run. These drivers now benefiting from long green flag runs and newer tires, faster speeds. Well, it might not be as given compared to other tracks. Here at Bristol, tire wear is big too, and just a few laps of racing are the difference between a 14-second lap and a 15-second lap, and sometimes even a 16-second lap. That time by, Casey Heschel ran a 16-second flat lap back the line, and he's about as quick as it gets for most drivers on this age-up set of tire. He's close to hitting under 15s, just can't break through to this point. Brad Crest on the wall that time by, fades back big. Dylan Petit grabs second, and now Scott Zellner in third as Adam Bozzi goes down to pit road this time by. Bozzi has trouble, and he's going to find himself the cause of the second yellow. 38 laps to go this time by, and the caution will fly. Yellow flag is out. Instant replay will show you what just happened here, as we'll see Bozzi going to go for the second caution of the day. And it looks like Brad Crest going to tap that 27, send him way down low, up on the track. Safety caution due to being on that racing circuit. And Adam Bozzi brings out yellow flag number 2 as a result. Caution will bring the field back to a standstill, and it looks like our tire strategy is going to change up substantially, because now every driver is going to be back, give or take, on cycle. And we'll watch that as we bring to you a brief Fireball Talks nonstop presentation amidst our second caution of the night. Here in Fireball Talks NASCAR, you don't miss a thing during our promotional breaks, and we'll show you the racing feed on the right side of your screen, and the main feed's going to still be there alongside our promotions. We'll be right back after this brief promotional break with 36 laps to go exclusively on FTN.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
And returning now with 34 laps remaining, it's going to be Casey Heschel on the way. First place driver with Dylan Petit second and Scott Zellner there in third. Set back for restart number 2. Heschel's been fantastic on his return to the Highline Racing League. First race of season 16 for him, and so far been one of the best in the business all throughout the night. Leading the way for the majority of our second run. Zellner's now going to be the bottom side, and the biggest hit or miss driver of the night so far has been this number 2. Your points leader not having as much consistent success tonight, but when he's on, he's definitely one of the best here in Bristol. The question is whether or not he can keep that pace up for the final 33 laps of action, or if he's going to fade back once again and give way to guys like Dylan Petit, Connor Holden, or James McKee. Coming through this time by with 33 laps to go. Back on the way with Casey Heschel getting the move on, and there's already going to be trouble. It looks like Connor Holden's going to go way up the track. No caution called. Everyone keeps it straight. Now the caution's called. Connor Holden the cause, and the yellow flag flies once again for the number 81. Connor Holden going to bring out the yellow flag just like that. Number 81 machine sees some trouble and brings them all back to pacing yet again. Driver the number 81 machine fades back once more, and right now it's going to be Holden who has a very, very poor restart that caused it. You'll see Zellner's going to wiggle, but so does Connor Holden, and a bit more egregious for the 81 as he hits the high side of the circuit, taps the wall, and just like that, it's going to be pit road for Holden, maybe not by choice, as he limps down at the bottom of the track. Single file restart is going to be enabled. This is our third caution, so as a result, single file is the way we'll go from here on out. A very long early run, it looks like slowly but surely compounding into the shorter green flag procedure. Yellow flag back out once again with 30 laps remaining. Heschel leads from Dylan Petit, James McKee, and Scott Zellner. Chad Winstead going to come down to pit road this time by. In addition, you'll see it's going to be Adam Bosey on his own. Scott Wheeler's going to be there in 7th, working way down low. Number 97 is, and pit road is always going to be a tough process for these drivers. Looks like you'll see Brooks also coming with on the bottom of the track as well. 3 drivers directly making their win this time by, and cautions breeding cautions, the name of the game with 30 laps to go. Early yellow flag didn't have much of a effect, the first one of which, then we get the second yellow flag and we go back to back. Largely a very clean race, so it would be unfortunate to see it fade back into what we've seen as of recent here, especially given the performance in the first 150 odd laps. Now we might see a bit more trouble with the final 30 laps in mind. 29 laps to go. This time by, we'll be coming back to green with about 26 remaining. It's going to be tough to keep it going from then on out. 49 of Casey Heschel up top. Single file restart though, so no choose rule in effect. Drivers go what they've got, and that is it. Chad Winstead gets off of pit road that time by, going to be able to stay on the lead lap, but nearly gets himself one down. The 34 machine back on the move. Here's the leaders come by yet again. Casey Heschel right up top. He's got Dylan Petit right there too. And James McKee rounds out the podium with Scott Zellner 4th and Adam Bosey then in 5th. Ramirez is going to be 39 laps down. Kenny Brooks still on the track is 13 laps down. And 87 down, make it 88, is Alan Cummin. Right now, it looks like only a total of 10 drivers on the lead lap. The final few laps just ahead. Now to find out whether or not it's Casey Heschel who will come home on top, or if another driver can steal the spotlight from a returning talent of the number 49. So far, a very good night for Casey, and you'll see 71 laps led out of 172. So technically, still an opportunity to go up there and make it a fight for the most laps led award if he leads the remainder of the race. Really, 2 drivers dominating tonight, and it comes down to Casey Heschel. And in addition, you also see it was Kendall Kerr who led oh so much. Pace cars in. This time by, going to make it 26 laps of racing remaining. Heschel's going to be up top. Petit there in 2nd, and James McKee in 3rd. 49 machines got the advantage coming through this time by as the Chevy Impala gets to lead him back to the green with a single file restart. Green flag back on the way for the 3rd restart of the day. Let's get things going with Heschel in front and the rest of the field due to follow. And caution flies once again for Kendall Kerr this time, so another consecutive yellow, and trouble brewing once again after a strong early run. And we'll take a look at it one more time. Kendall Kerr going to be the cause. Looks like his second incident of the day. We'll find out why with 25 laps to go. Instant replay going to show you what just happened. Here is the Lucas Oil number 21. Tapped by Chad Winstead, sends him up the track, and the yellow flag flies with 25 to go. Another caution brings us back under pacing yet again. This is our fourth caution of the day. 3 in succession, back to back to back. We've seen now, and just like that, going to get us moving once again with 25 laps to go. Now make it 24, as a matter of fact, with Casey Eschel leading, Dylan Petit second, and James McKee then in third. So single file restarts don't alleviate the problem directly there. Hoping to get something a little better in this one. Just didn't get the jump. Just like that, we wait again for an opportunity. A pace car driving up in front. We'll see whether or not this is going to be a shortened yellow. It looks like it will be. Pace car going to come down in this time by. Let them go with 23 laps to go. It's going to be Casey Eschel back on the way, and the green flag flies with 23 laps remaining. And as always, with 22 to go, we'll crank it up with the highest quality iRacing camera providers on the market. TrackCams22.com provides high quality iRacing cameras for all broadcasters and camera workers on the sim. Check out TrackCams22.com as we crank it up here with 22 laps to go in the Classic Colosseum 200. Back now with only 14 laps remaining in the top two battle, with now Casey Eschel and Dylan Petit going at it up in the front of the field with the final laps just ahead. Two unexpected drivers up at the head of the field tonight in Bristol. As we mentioned, Dylan Petit benefits most from seeing these drivers get away with all the attrition in mind and running through to the front of the field. Now the advantage up ahead of the pack. Casey Eschel, though, has been able to lead almost every lap ever since the halfway point. Look at the numbers right now, and he's led a total of 86, and with 12 laps to go, next time by, he's going to be able to make it up to 88, and there's a chance that he will actually be able to steal that most laps led bonus from Kendall Kerr, nearly leading the entirety of the race. Two drivers in Kendall Kerr and Casey Eschel. Unbelievable how much they've been able to lead in succession. James McKee was able to get through in the middle of them and lead 0 laps. My apologies. It goes down to his Blacktop Racing teammate in Brad Kress as the number 9 machine sees trouble. He was actually on timing and scoring mark, not a leader any lap. So that goes to show how tight it's been. When one driver stopped leading, the other got going. Adam Bozzi led 1 lap, and then Kendall Kerr led 98, and now coming down to 9 laps to go, Casey Eschel is set to lead the final 9 if he can hold on. Now the question is, of course, a big if right now with Dylan Petit right there on the high side yet again. He's right there in the back bumper, and it's far from over with how close those two drivers are in the thick of the battle. You'll see right there, it's going to be Casey Heschel losing a bit more time as the Petit machine makes it even closer. Ryan on board with Dylan and see how it's going to be between these two guys with the final few laps ahead. And oh, so close to riding that back bumper, the number 31 machine, as close as he possibly can be without making any contact. Dylan Petit goes way up high, has a shot once again. 6 laps to go. This time through, Casey Heschel still got the edge, but now beginning to back it up in the corner to get a much better run on exit. That's exactly the game plan right now, as Heschel begins to prepare to become a bit more defensive to finish things off. 5 laps to go. This time by for Casey Heschel. Dylan Petit drops down on the bottom side looking for the race lead. 31 machine's got a shot, gets close, just can't find the room. And now James McKee fights for third right behind. Second place battle going to begin to blossom as well. Dylan Petit fading back just enough to give McKee a shot, but just hasn't found the room yet as Heschel comes around. This time by with only 3 laps remaining. And 3 laps left, that time by. It's about as close as that Dylan Petit has gotten all night long, but now the chance is slim to make it back. Heschel coming around this time by, knows it's only going to be 1 mile left. 2 laps to go this time by. Heschel up in front, Dylan Petit behind, and James McKee there in third, going to make it close as well. 4 drivers in 1 second this time by as they come around for the white flag. Final lap this time by for Heschel, coming through with only a half mile remaining. As Heschel comes through this time by, down the back straightaway, running hot. Dylan Petit sent it deep. So does James McKee, but the checkered flag this time by, returning for the first time this season. Casey Heschel gets it done. What a way to return to the Highline Racing League. Heschel wins on his season 16 debut and goes 1 for 1 at the last great Coliseum. Heschel already getting it done, his first start this season, and pulls it back into victory lane. Roberto Ramirez congratulating him as well, and just like that, a victory lane will be for the number 49, and there's no better way to start a night, start a season than a victory. And just like that for Casey Heschel, undefeated in season 16 as he prepares to burn it down from the last great Coliseum. And parking it after a well-deserved victory for a brief moment, Casey Heschel will get it done, and as the celebration goes on, we'll bring you your official results after tonight's event. Coming through on top, Casey Heschel will win from Bristol with Dylan Petit second place, James McKee then third, and Adam Bozzi position number 4. Rounding out that top 5, going to be Terry Brooks with Connor Holden 6th, Chad Winstead 7th, and Scott Zellner, your points leader in the night, coming through in 8th. 9th place is going to be held by Scott Wheeler with Kendall Kerr 10th, and the 11th spot occupied then by Caleb Morrissey. Going to be Brad Crest 12th, Kenny Brooks in 13th, and Roberto Ramirez then position number 14 as Alan Cummins is 15th with Ryan Potter 16th, and Ty Smith and Michael Deitch your only retirees 17th, and 18th, respectively. Just like that, the number 49 parks it after a hard-fought night in Bristol. And to clarify the situation about who led the most laps, Heschel did. 99 out of 200. What a dominant performance from Casey Heschel. That second half was his. And the 49 for the Misfit Mafia comes back with a vengeance, dominates this race with the most laps led, comes home in victory lane on his season debut. 99 laps led almost the entirety of the second half, and as soon as you got up there, no stopping this crew all day long. The fast red machine gets it done. Casey Heschel, victory lane on your season 16 debut. What's it like to be back? And not only that, returning on top.
Oh, it feels good to finally get the horse off my back and get the win. I think I've ran 2 races this year and took the lead in one of them and had a caution come out and really ruin the strategy. But luckily today it kind of worked out in my favor and finally put the 49 back in victory lane.
And execution, a big deal here tonight, and the number 49 crew able to make it work very well. The strategy fell into your favor with the first one. Of course, that run in particular, you decided to stay on the track a bit longer, and it played out with that caution immediately thereafter. How was it working with the strategy all night long, and after that first stop, going from there?
Man, I killed my right front that very first run. I think I was probably 6 or 7 tenths of a second slower than the leaders, so I was like, man, I'm just going to pit really early here and kind of hope for a yellow later in the race, and it fell in my favor, luckily.
And everything falling in your favor there, leading oh so many laps with pressure right behind you until the very end. How was it dealing with those late race cautions, given how close everyone was here at Bristol?
Man, it was great when it was double file because I could get a jump and then second and third would race each other and I'd be able to get away. But once we went single file, Dylan was keeping up with me pretty good, and he definitely gave me a run for my money there. I'm glad we were able to race it clean and we weren't wrecking each other across the line or anything like that. So it was fun racing with Dylan. Props to him on second and James in third, and it was, I think, overall, besides the probably laps 1 to 150 where we had those yellows, but other than that, it was a really good race.
Overall, coming through on top, and it's a great way to be back. Casey Heschel, victory lane here, number 49, winning your first race of season 16 of victory lane. You've got it. As you mentioned, you've had 6 years before in these Gen 4s, and just finally getting that checkered flag. Now with the remainder of the season ahead of you, in particular, up next on the schedule, we're taking it from Bristol all the way down to what appears to be race number 11, Kansas and Tornado Alley. What's it going to take up next in a mile and a half?
Well, I leave for Phoenix next Thursday, so I won't be able to make Kansas, although that's probably my favorite track that we race at. So I'll definitely be tuning in while I'm in Phoenix and checking you guys out, and hopefully, I think Zellner is really good there, so I imagine he'll probably walk the dog on everybody there.
And coming through with a checkered flag night in the last great Coliseum, Casey Heschel, a winner here in the Bristol Motor Speedway. Anything else you'd like to add after this race?
Just thanks Toby Kendall and everybody, Adam, that put this league on, and all the partners that keep the stream going, and you guys broadcasting us, and thank you guys for doing what you do.
There we have it. Casey Heschel puts on a show and comes home with a race victory and a very close finish here in Bristol. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now with that in mind, Casey Heschel on the move. The number 49 machine gets the race win. First place goes to Heschel. Dylan Petit, once again, the master of surviving attrition, does so once again, and that number 31 machine comes home on top, and as soon as we were going to drag him in, he drags himself in the interview room, makes it easier for us. Second place, and another night where you avoid all the trouble and put yourself in a great spot to go all the way. Dylan Petit, the Caterpillar number 31, second place. How do you feel with another podium so recently, going a very good run as of recent?
Yeah, it didn't start very well. I dropped anchor at the beginning of the race. I think I just killed my tires and just dropped like a rock, fell lap down, and it was just a tire game the rest of the way, and got a caution that worked out for a couple of us. Casey and I were about the same strategy. We had pitted around 50, and the caution came out not too long after we took first and second, and just kind of set us up for the rest of the race. if it wasn't for that, I don't think it was going to be a very good night. I just didn't have the tire saving at the beginning, but after we got our caution, it seemed like I figured something out and was able to run hard and still conserve the tires. So all in all, I'm just glad to have a good points night and just came up short again. I was trying to think in my head what I could have done there. Casey, we've battled before in the past for a win, and I had that in mind, but I just trying to clean things up, especially after what happened recently at Martinsville in the Truck Series. That's just not how I race, and wish I could have redid that, but I mean, it's good to finish second. Just really wanted to get that win. I don't know. I just tried everything I could there, but it is what it is, I guess.
And still, as you mentioned, a good points night and fighting for that win. You had a few opportunities there with those shorter yellow flag runs in succession. Do you think that was a better chance for you to win, or would it have been better to go all the way?
Well, how it was at the beginning of the race, it probably was better to have less laps for me because I felt like it was starting to get tight right there about lap, like maybe 3 or 4 to go, and I tried to make a move. It wasn't really the best move. I should have probably waited to get a better run, try to go under Casey, but it was just so hard to pass on the bottom once the tires kind of worn off. And I tried to get to his outside a couple times. I think I hit him a couple times somehow, and I was trying to find a way to squeeze to his outside on his right rear, but I could never get there fully. So it was just kind of just riding around in line at that point. I just had to defend Jimmy once I screwed up that pass, and then I just kind of threw it around on that last lap and hit everything but the pit road wall. So, I mean, I tried to just, I wish I could have figured out a way to get around Casey there, but congrats to him on the win. Hopefully that win's coming soon. I feel like I'm knocking on the door and just getting there, and it's hopefully coming soon. At least got the pink cat car a good finish this week, unlike last week where strategy kind of killed us and we had a late race yellow that killed us. So, can't complain. At least we're getting better results this season as of late, and hopefully you keep riding that momentum.
And big momentum to keep this train moving. It's a 31 second place again. Dylan Petit, before we head to Kansas, anything else you'd like to add after this event?
Just going to give a few shout outs to Team Trap House, as usual, with Dylan doing his thing and bringing out the pink scheme for the month of October. Will be the last time that runs this season, so at least went out with a good finish. It wasn't pretty, but it looked good at the beginning of the race. And good race, everybody up front. Again, congrats to Casey on the win, and shout out to Chaz Nimrod and Holden Wieners. I had to get those shout outs, and everybody at FTN for you guys do, and everybody at Highline. And I also wanted to just say I'm sorry about what I said. I know you guys probably didn't hear it, but we had an outburst about the yellow situations of consistency, and so I apologize to the admins. I felt like I was a little rough on that, but I just was a little flustered and frustrated, so I just wanted to let them know that I'm sorry, and just was heat of the moment deal with it. But I still appreciate everything they do for us, and we make mistakes together. We're a group. We do this every week, so I don't want everybody getting all upset with each other, and I also am sorry for how I was. So looking forward to Kansas. Ran good there last time, and really good track for me, so I'm hoping maybe that would be the week. Maybe I can go off and get a win. But thanks again, everybody, for friend on the show, and everybody watching, and for everybody what you guys do.
And some confidence to keep things moving. Dylan Petit, a podium finish here in Bristol, comes home second after a hard-fought night in the Coliseum. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And with Dylan Petit on the move, one more driver inside our top 3. James McKean, the number 29 crew, round out the podium. And it looked like late in the going there was a chance to maybe sneak up for second, but still pulling through with a third-place finish. How do you feel after a night in Bristol?
Yeah, just happy with a good run. Couldn't do much with all those cautions that came out, but I knew they were going to keep coming out because that's just how we do it on short tracks.
And short tracks being a bit of trouble all season long. We did have some early green flag racing, however, that sort of set this race off a bit different. Long run early and the short runs later. How was it with the difference in strategy, sort of managing that for a good run all night long?
No, I was happy with the long run, that first pit stop. I was hoping to save tire towards the beginning of that and hope we would, somehow go green, but that just didn't happen. So killed that strategy. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
And while strategy not working out 100% to plan tonight, still a podium finish and a great points night to move on to Tornado Alley. It's, of course, Kansas Speedway up next on the schedule, and the intermediate circuit keeps things moving as we go back to the 1.5 miles in the final leg of the tour. How confident are you to keep this momentum rolling and go for another successful finish?
That'd be nice, but Zellner, he's pretty good at Kansas every year. So, and with that being basically a one-lane track, it's, it might get a little dicey, but it's going to be tough. But we'll do what we can.
And looking to keep on doing what's possible for this crew, the number 29 machine and James McKee, third place on the day. Anything else you'd like to wrap off with here after a night in Bristol?
Nope, as always, just appreciate you, your broadcast and everything. So.
And there we have it, including our podium. It's a third place finish here for McKee and the number 29 as it rounds out the podium here in the Classic Colosseum 200. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now McKee on the move, your final driver on the day. To round out the podium, once again, it's James McKee in third, Dylan Petit in second, and Casey Heschel coming home first. Getting it back done for the 49 crew. A great race to put this 49 back on the map. Getting it done in Bristol. And with that note, we conclude our doubleheader here for the Bristol Motor Speedway. And a lot of action to look back on throughout the day. And tonight, the Highline Racing League pulls it through for a nice and smooth night in Tennessee. We'd like to thank all our viewers, both in the Iora Cup Series and in the Highline Racing League, for their support all night long. A fantastic night of racing. And we'd love to have you all back on Saturday on FTN for a doubleheader with the Saturday Night Truck Series and the Full Sim Super Speedway Series. All great racing all throughout the week. I've been David Kreutz, producing and commentating all the action here on FTN. I hope you enjoy tonight's broadcast, as we hope to have y'all for the remainder of 2023 and beyond. Less than 10 subscribers away from 1,300. We'd love to have you keep supporting the channel, and all support is greatly appreciated. This has been our presentation of the Highline Racing League and the Classic Coliseum 200, and we hope you'll have a fantastic night. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoy tonight's presentation of the Bristol Motor Speedway, and we hope that you all have a great night once again. Thank you all for your time, and we hope to see you whenever we're live again on FTN.